What's up, guys? It's Pat with the Hollow Down channel. My boy Johnny Bravo. So, straight off the cuff, this is a rebrand. Any of you the guys were following the channel beforehand, see me do some. I'm gonna sidebar this. If you're a random sound, this is my 6-month-old puppy over here being an idiot in the water. So, anyway, that's great. This is a great way to
good
start this. In fact, since we're starting this, it'll give me 2 seconds. I'm going to give you a video to throw down the side down here. Hey, Duke.
What are you doing? I don't want you. My goodness. Well, he likes water.
He does like water.
Good, you got it all.
All right. I'll edit that little tidbit so y'all can see that. That's entertaining. Anyway, so this is the restart revamp of the Hollow Down Talks channel. So it's going to be the Hollow Down Cigar Lounge. Come to you a little bit of a vlog or a podcast style. Still going to talk about cigars. That's not going to change. We'll have a different cigar every time. Talk about it for a little bit. Light it up. Smoke it. Next time there's no water when we do a video. Alright, it's going to be entertaining. We'll talk about the cigar, talk about what we get out of it. I'll read you the official profile marks, and then we'll see if we actually can taste or smell those things. Some of these will be cigars that one or both of us have tried, maybe brand new, who knows. What we talk about, completely random. Could be out of an article, could be current news, could be from a magazine, whatever, we don't really care, just something interesting to talk about. So give us a marker to go with, and at the end I'll give you our Gmail account, so if you got anything specific you want to talk about, questions, concerns, hate mail, I don't care. Tell us how much we suck, that's cool too. We'll pretty much just talk about it, go from there. So my boy Johnny Bravo, he'll be here on most of these. Got a couple other guys want to jump in. We'll see if they're up to snuff, if they want to actually join in or not. Could bring them in, could be 3 of us. I don't know. Like I said, we're just kind of winging this, have some fun, have an excuse to talk to people, talk to you, give you something to listen to, give you a couple idiots to watch on video if you're watching this on YouTube. Also, if you're hearing this only, it's because you're on the podcast. And I'm also going to restart the podcast audio only version. It's going to be verbatim what you're seeing on YouTube, so that way you can just hear it as well if you're driving. I actually did get hit up with some friends when I stopped doing the podcast because they were doing some commutes and got upset that I stopped the podcast. I'm like, well, kind of doing everything together here. So anyway, so here's your good introduction. Hey, we're back. Pat, Johnny. Hey, what's up? So, said if I can get a good, see if this will focus for you or not. This is Gurkha's Black Ops Maduro. So that's what we're going to hit today. I have had this one before. I think you said you have not?
I have not.
Okay. Don't be surprised if most of the time that's the correlation, because I smoked a lot darker stuff than he has. And most of what I already have in the 300 sticks chilling in the humidor back there is mostly darker stuff. So we'll bring up some other stuff. It'll go the other direction at some point, but especially while I'm going through what I already got, I'm pretty sure you're gonna be like, no, haven't had that dark stuff yet, but we'll see. So, Duke in his water. So bring the whole tray over here. So we're gonna give this a good V cut. I've showed this on a video before, but I think I'm probably going to delete that video as I restart this. So there's several brands that make this cutter. It's a really good solid V cutter, real sharp. Do not stick your finger in there, it'll hurt.
Oh, you're not supposed to do that?
Oh, no.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you can.
Gosh.
There's a trauma bay close by. So give you a good V cut. See if you can see that. Let's actually get a shot of that. So I prefer that. It's good airflow. Perfect. If I've got now this one has, you might be able to see this, maybe. This one has a double end cap up here. So, let's see if it'll focus on it. It's gonna kind of sort of focus, guys. But this one's got a double end cap right here. Double end cap, I will use the V-cut because it doesn't tear it up. If I've got one like a single cut, like one of my more budget-friendly regulars is Drew Estates Factory Smokes. They have a single cap, so I'll use the punch-in on the bottom of this. It's got a punch-in as well. That way I just don't shred off the entire cap, which you can do, but it's going to be annoying because then the whole time you're trying to hold your cap together. Here, you can double up. May have to watch that fan over there. It's really hot outside. It's start of September here and it's still hot, so I've got fans out here. So normally I'd light it up here where you can see it, but the fan's gonna kill this torch. And Tony, I'm calling you out. One of my best friends from boot camp. Saw me doing these videos, torching a cigar. Yes, I'm still torching a cigar. And yes, I know you're gonna give me hell for it, that's okay. So, normally I would ask, you both just kick the camera at the same time.
Oh, you told me not to do that.
I know, and I still did, and you did it right behind me. One of these points I'll get a bigger stand, so it's not gonna move as much. But, normally I would have asked him what he smells and tastes out of this first, but I didn't. I looked it up. So, I'm gonna read you exactly what they say about this. Again, this is from Gurkha. It's Black Ops Maduro. I know I got a buddy Shannon. I will never say last names on here, so don't worry, I'm never going to blast anybody. I got a set of these for him for probably about a year ago. I know he likes them too. So let me pull this up for you and read you exactly what they say. Now this information's coming off of Cigar International's website, but it's coming from Gurkha. First off, feel how airy that is?
So, the last time we did this, we talked about darks and lights. I told you I was more of a lighter guy.
Right.
This isn't bad, being a darker cigar. Before lighting it up, I could definitely smell like a cocoa flavor to it, and I know that's one of the attributes that you're about to read.
Yep.
Go ahead and read them to it. And,
you want to talk about it?
Yeah.
All right. So, this is Black Ops Maduro is an uber dark specimen, brimming with dense, rich flavors. Maduro wrapped blend comes chock full of Cuban seed, long fillers. It's a medium to full body profile, still notably smooth. Hints of chocolate, espresso, honey, and pepper are found with each puff. They call it a scrumptious blend. I guess if you wanted to eat your tobacco at the same time. So it's a Cuban seed, but the origin on the leaf is Nicaraguan, which is pretty common, especially in the U.S. Went so long without being able to get any Cuban seed. Got new habits. It's 4 out of 5 on the darkness profile, so it's not as dark as you can get, but it's dark. You probably land more of a 2 or 3.
Yeah.
That's not a tricky number if you're not a cigar person. It's literally 1 to 5, light to dark. Still a good broadleaf on the wrapper. So they don't say anything about the draw. I noticed most dark cigars are not super airy.
Mm-hmm.
This one is.
It's smooth still.
It is smooth.
I don't taste anything that they said that's in there.
I'm glad you said that because I don't either.
I don't know where they got the honey for sure from. I could smell cocoa.
I can smell cocoa.
But I can't taste it.
Correct. So I wondered non-sponsored hip in here. Yep, I think I hit the camera. So we're gonna move this a little bit. That's my fault. I didn't notice I did that a while ago. Guess I'm trying to cut you out of the frame already.
Oh, wow. Story of my life.
So, one of my favorite coffees is Black Rifle coffee. That's the non-sponsored hit. That's just Pat saying stuff that he likes. But one of their darker coffees, and I forget which one off the top of my head. I think it's the Beyond Black. If I'm wrong, somebody fix me up, and when I'm done, I'm gonna go check. Because now I'm curious. I think it's that one. They have a really good dark roast that, to prevent it from being bitter, they roast them in chocolate. So I'm wondering if that's the same principle. Maybe it's not a flavor point because it's dark, but you said it's still smooth to you. I wonder maybe the chocolate might balance out some of the extra bitterness.
I don't know.
That's a theory. I don't know. We're going to find that out. But it's a good smoke. It's a good draw. You can taste the darkness on your lips when you look after it. I can taste that. So it does have a good dark oily wrapper. But it's smooth.
Yeah, it's still enjoyable.
So I've had this one before. On average, I get about 50 minutes to an hour 10, depending on how fast I draw. That fan is going to make this go a little bit faster because it's going to make it burn a little bit quicker. So you'll see this burn a little bit faster than I would say would be normal. Area Metro, I tend to go back and forth between periodically. This is one of the ones I'll smoke because back and forth, it's a good medium dry, but it's not going to take up all your day. But
it's a good conversation cigar.
My dog likes it too because he's trying to chew the wrapper up. Sorry, buddy. So, but yeah, any extra thoughts you got on it?
That's pretty much all I had on it. You know, just smell a little bit of cocoa and can't taste anything they say, you know.
If I struggle real hard, I might can pull a little pepper off my lips, not in the flavor, not in the smell. But if they hadn't said it was in there, I probably still wouldn't find it. I'm sitting here smacking the inside of my lips trying to find it, and it's like a hint. But I gotta struggle for it.
Yeah, no, nothing.
Alright then. Maybe I'm just imagining it. So anyway, so that's our cigar for the day. Again, this is Black Ops Gurkha. It's their Maduro. I say that properly. It's Gurkha Black Ops Maduro. If you've had this, let me know your thoughts. This is the Hollow Down Cigar Lounge, so above all else, cigars is the number one. Gives us an excuse to hang out. We both work alternating schedules that are supposed to be on the same timeline. Doesn't always work that way because of what we do. So anytime we have it's been a couple months.
I was actually just looking at it yesterday.
It's been a couple months since we've actually been able to sit down.
It had to have been back in November last year. End of November, beginning of December.
Has it really been that long?
It's been that long.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. And we've been talking about for how long trying to get together?
We've had a rough year, I'll give it that. So
it's always something coming up.
Always something. So our plan is doing it this style. It's going to be a Cigar Lounge. Each episode is going to be longer. Full disclosure, we're using today kind of like a pilot point. I don't know if it'll be 30 minutes, 45, or end it in 3 minutes because we realize we suck. I don't know.
We just stopped the podcast.
Just stop like, okay, guys, they're horrible. Let's So anyway, however this rolls today, that'll give us a good timeline. We're not going to lock ourselves into a predetermined schedule. When I was doing the shorter podcast, that was recommended. Doing the longer ones, nobody really kind of jived with that. It's hard to do a weekly Friday thing if, we're doing a 30, 45-minute interval if I'm bringing somebody else into it. There may be a time every once in a while where it's just me, if life gets in the way and we just can't meet up. But the idea is to have a buddy with me. Johnny's primary for it because he's the one that's been talking with me about this for doing it the whole time.
Schedule's pending, of course.
Schedule's pending, of course. So, So I'd have a couple of the guys that I mentioned, like coming in and doing a spot here and there. So whether they're with us or separately, schedules pending, we'll figure that one out. But Johnny's primary with me, so the goal is to have him, if he's not on all of them, as many as possible. It's kind of the point.
We may suck at the beginning,
May suck at the beginning, we're going to figure it out.
but we're gonna figure it out.
Got a good idea. There's some other guys, and I may put them in the comments, the link to you for YouTube. I may put them down there so you can see some links. There's a few other cigar conversation styles on YouTube that I frequent. Never know what they're going to talk about. Never know what we're going to talk about. Just kind of gives a good thing to kind of listen to if you're cruising around town or you're going on a drive or you're bored at home cleaning. I've done all the above. Just kind of a good conversation style, like you're actually sitting in a lounge or you're at your buddy's barbecue on the back porch by the fire. It's kind of what I assume. That's usually what I do. It is still late summer, so it's hot as hell right now, and it's a cool day. So the fire's not going.
90 right now.
Still 90.
Still 90 degrees.
So summer is technically over, and it's still 90 degrees. Welcome to the South. But when it comes wintertime, all this firewood you see behind me is not for decoration. I've got a pretty nice fire pit over there that we'll throw it in and keep things warm with the cigar. Do what?
Pairs perfect.
Oh yeah, pairs perfectly. If it wasn't 90 degrees outside on an afternoon that we had things to do later, there might be a scotch or a bourbon sitting right here as well.
Yeah.
So normally you would see that. And YouTube disclosure, these are adult activities. So whether you're talking about federal, state guidelines, or wherever you're at, you know, if you're overseas, because I did have a few overseas people that I followed the last time. I will tell you how good these are. I will tell you my preference, but I'm not telling you to go do this at 13 years old. Make sure you follow your local laws and guidelines on smoking and or drinking. I will talk about both of these. I cannot give you links to any of them per YouTube's channel. I can tell you what they are, and you're more than welcome to go look them up on your own. But I'm not going to give you any links because I'm not recommending that you go buy them unless you're of legal age to do so. So no worries there. This is entertainment only, conversation only, enjoyment, stuff that we like, stuff that we want to do. Just making sure that is clear for the unfortunate legal policies that we all must abide by today. So, cigar intro's done. Got a good cigar, we're hitting it. I can tell I'm in direct line of that fire because of that fan going down pretty good. That's okay. Not a big deal. So since we're talking about Black Ops, I almost started talking about some militaristic things, but I'm going to hold that off for another day. Talking about data. There's a couple things that I found. Hey Duke, you realize there's no water left in there. You've got it all over the porch. But that's okay. So, a couple things that I found, and I did pull these out of a couple magazines. Full disclosure, I'll tell you wherever I get things from, whether it's us just randomly talking about crap or if it's something that I found. So, the second one actually came out of Popular Mechanics. The first one came out of Wired magazine. I do have subscriptions to both. Wired's more of your technical stuff. If you don't know these magazines, Wired is more technologically based, I would guess. It's more computer gear, more nerdy, more scientific in a way. Popular Mechanics can be some of that, but it's preference for a lot of your DIY kind of guy. If you're functionally nerdy, like I am, I can't do half the stuff that's in there, but I like seeing how other people do things. So
Funny thing is, I'm complete opposite.
no.
Complete opposite. Used to be like a big gamer. But that was like middle school.
So I'm a gamer-ish. Heavy on the ish. Both of us were really good shooters. So take us out to the range, we'll knock it down with the best of them. But you put me in a first-person shooter, I'm trash. I suck.
Really?
Absolutely. And I'm talking, you know, I'm not old, but this will date me a little bit. So anybody younger can be like, oh my God, he's old. Like 007 Goldeneye 64.
See.
I'm talking all the way back to me in like middle school, before things were as technologically advanced as they are. and that was still a simple first-person shooter,
Yeah.
and I still sucked. Now put me to today with Fortnite and Call of Duty. Horrible.
See, I know a lot
Horrible.
of people probably go along with this, but MW2,
Yep.
that was the game.
I love watching it.
Ah, dude.
And if you nailed it, I would sit there. I'd come over and watch
dude.
you play all day.
Back in the day, that
Yeah.
was my game.
Just don't let me be on your team unless you would die.
Like,
I
people
got
worked hard to get certain kill death ratios.
right. Now, if I need to boost your score, I'll go against you.
Yeah. You know they're coming out with a new one.
I heard.
Remastered.
I didn't know what it was going to call.
Yeah, it's like MW2 remastered. Then again, I'm out of the loop. I don't
Right.
even know, but
I
I don't even have a
know if y'all
console.
know
I don't even have a console anymore.
at all.
No.
So I do most of my stuff PC.
See, I tried Fortnite PC and I just can't get it.
So I've got Fortnite. I still suck. I've tried. Got a couple friends that I'm trying to play with. Still suck. The last console I bought was Xbox 360, which I have. I haven't played in a while. The last PlayStation I bought was the PS2. And the only reason I still have it is because I still go back periodically and try to beat Final Fantasy X. There is the same boss at the same point on the airship that I cannot get past. So if anybody knows how to freaking beat this guy, let me know.
Check this out. So I had 360 when MW2 and all them games were big. Got out of that phase and got rid of it, right? I went all through college without having a console, pretty much. Until my senior year, I think, is when Fortnite came out. I think it was
Okay.
senior year. I specifically went and bought the new Xbox One just to play Fortnite. You know how long that lasted me? About a year. I sold it.
See, I was going to get the one, and then they started talking about, I think it's the X. The X and the S. The X and the
I
S.
think so, yeah.
But the reason I waited is because the X was like, hey, you can play all of the previous Xbox games. So that way, if I wanted to have one setup, I could still play the 360 games that I already have. If I wanted to go back up beforehand, they'd say they're compatible, but it was hit or miss. It's like, you couldn't always go backwards on the system. So that way I'd have one system I could play it all. But then I still didn't get it because I'm going to do everything on the PC.
I'm truly
Because I build my own computers too.
I'm
So.
truly almost tempted to go back and get another console for 2 games. It's for the remastered and Tiger Woods 2K23.
Ooh.
I don't know why. I've just been like, you know what? I think I need to go get it.
So I say I play on PC, right? But I got big paws. PlayStation controllers are difficult for me. I know some guys with big hands are cool with it. I struggle literally with just the joystick being close. Xbox, I can relax my hand, it's up on top.
Yeah.
That is literally the only reason I care. This whole Xbox versus PC versus console, I really don't care. Mine is these big hands and how my hand falls. So even on the PC, I played with an Xbox 360 controller for a long time. It finally died. I went and got an MSI controller with an Xbox layout. So even though I'm on PC, I still play with the Xbox controller, so I can still. I don't
think
keyboard
it's-
and mouse. I'm not
I
very
think
good
it's
at it.
just your personal preference, because there's a lot of gamers out there that most of them are PC, but some really good ones that I've watched, certain guys, they play PlayStation.
Yeah,
I think it's just
personal preference.
personal preference.
I'm very good in sports stuff. I've been on a Rocket League kick for like 2 years.
I never got into
I
that.
can't, man. I got a couple buddies that I think it was Brad was the last one that he does some streaming. He had played, and I would always watch him play, and I was like, this is fun. Huge ass soccer ball with a car with rocket engines.
Yeah.
Pretty much what it is.
Yeah,
You know?
it's soccer with with little toy go karts.
Like, I forget the name, what it was originally called, but it originally was like rocket powered soccer, something like that. But Rocket League, so that's what I'll play after work. It's a free game. Only purchases are completely optional. That's if you don't want to wait for stuff to get earned in the game to jazz up your cars, whatever. I'm not great at it, but I'm good at it because it's more sports related. Now, put Madden on there, dude, we're down. I'm not the greatest, but I'm really good. I'll play Madden all day long. It's also not a first-person shooter. You know, so it's all play-based.
You remember that one game? It was football. It was like the street version of
Blitz?
football. Is it called Blitz?
Blitz.
Yeah.
So
You could make your guys as big as you wanted them to be.
Now, there's been a couple of renditions, but Blitz started... Dude, that might have started on the 64 too, and then disappeared for a while. It came back because you could make it as big as you wanted, and, you know, in the middle of the game, somebody got hurt. You had the option to sit them out or give them a freaking injection to keep playing.
Yeah, like you could have your guys literally just punch the other players and like, run it in for the touchdown.
It was, so I remember guys hated me. Are you literally eating wood, dude? Yeah, he's still in puppy face. So, one play, and I think I haven't played the newest one, not new, but newest. I had a play as a quarterback that nobody could ever beat me on because I know that they're coming for the target. So I'd come back and I'd draw back like a huge, like 12-step drop, and I would jump. While you're in the air, the hard hit stalls. Now they can still hit you.
Oh yeah.
But it would still let you
and
throw
then you
the
could
ball.
like pass it.
So every pass I would jump.
You're wide open.
And then throw.
Yeah.
Every time.
I did.
It's technically a glitch in the game, but you know, whatever.
And before getting an Xbox, I did have a PS2, and I mainly played MLB The Show on there.
That was a good game.
That was when baseball games were like very popular because
now the only baseball games that are real popular are the ones like on your phone, and they're not actual sanctioned MLB. Like I've got one called Baseball 9. It's fun.
I think they tried to recreate the show. I can't remember what year it was. It might have been 20, 21, 22. I really don't know.
So if y'all haven't figured this out by now, I just said we were going to talk about that, and we just spent the last 10 minutes talking about games. This will happen.
Right.
It's cool. We're not going to stick to the schedule. Whatever happens,
Squirrel,
happens.
we're going to talk about
this.
Right.
Squirrel! The closest MLB game that I play on the phone is Tap Baseball. It's good in the aspect that you get to follow real players.
To me,
but you're not actual gameplay.
I liked the show because like any sport game, you can create a player, right? And you can do a whole career with them. So I remember the show, you would start off getting drafted, free agent.
22 is the last one they put out.
Is it 22? Well, the old one,
PS4 and Xbox One.
Yeah, so the old one, you would create a profile like you just got drafted. So you'd get drafted by the Yankees or whoever it was, and then you go into the minors. Well, you had to prove yourself by the way you played to get called up.
Right.
And that's how,
actually legitimately the way
it was cool because it wasn't just, you created a team and you're the best player ever and you just whoop everybody. It was like, no, in order to gain your skill, you actually had to play the game, add it to your player's profile and everything. It was
That's what makes
really
it better.
cool. Yeah.
Actually follow it.
And throughout the years I did, a position player, then I would do like a pitcher. Actually, the pitcher version was very fun.
I never tried pitcher stuff.
Yeah, it would make the season go by faster because you would only have like, a start every 5 to 7 games or something like that. But if you dominated those 5 to 7 game starts that you played,
right,
you could get potentially called up faster and go to the show.
That's cool.
And in order to increase your like speed, velocity, and everything like that was based off how well you played the game. I liked it. It was more challenging instead of just.
And now do kiss the camera.
Yeah, it was more challenging instead of just create a profile. You're the best player ever, and your fastball is 105 miles an hour. That's boring.
Yeah.
You had nothing.
Instead
to
of just skill attribute points, you actually had lifestyle and experience.
Yeah.
I feel that.
It's actually really cool. And then you could create stadiums. For the longest time, all these games, you couldn't really do that.
Right. That's why I like the new Madden. Well, not only the new one. They started a few years ago. But you have full franchise modes. Instead of just having a season mode.
Right.
And it frustrated everybody at first. Because like, where'd the season mode go? Because you could, season mode, you're literally just playing the season. Yeah, your players get better in time. With the franchise, you're controlling over the coach, all your coaches skills, not just your player skills. I mean, you're doing trades and everything else, so you're doing salary caps. It's a full. you're the owner when it comes to the franchise, but playing the game, it's still a football game, but you get more of an expanse. And I like those games more than just the old school, like play, swing, throw a ball, hit a home run, touchdown, game over.
And even going back to like MW2, the reason why I loved it so much was because, and they did the same thing with MW3 and so forth, but in order to get better guns and better perks and everything, you had to rank up, level up.
Right.
That's what I liked about it. Yeah. Nowadays, nothing against y'all out there that do it, but everybody hacks these games and they just go to level 70 prestige mode, and then it's like you get all the perks and you don't have to work for anything. And it's just like
kills the atmosphere.
Yeah.
So 30 minutes in. So I love that we talk about games. We're gonna talk about whatever.
We have no set list for this.
Not at all. We're gonna come up with a couple ideas just to get us rolling. Whatever happens is gonna be what the title of this thing is. So, which is kind of cool because I didn't really have 30 minutes of information to talk about the two things that we're gonna start with. But this first one I personally find entertaining. I'm a computer guy. I'm not a programmer. I'm not a hacker. Hardware, like building computers, that's my world. Found that out for sure because my bachelor's is in criminal justice. That was not going to be my original degree plan. I started. Hey, Duke, can you be careful, buddy? You're a little too tall for the table. If the camera falls, I'll let you see it. Then I'll bring it back.
Blame it on Duke.
So, 6 months old puppy that is somewhere between a Beagle, Boxer, Pit, Terrier, something. We're going to get a DNA test and figure that out, but he was a rescue, so I'm not sure. Great dog, just still a puppy. So, when I actually started my degree while I was in the Marines was network security. I moved school, and I don't mind saying what state I'm in. You're on YouTube, you can figure this out. So, in Louisiana, went to college. They didn't have it exactly. They had it was computer science based on network security administration, but they had to have programming classes because that particular school didn't have exactly what I needed, and I wasn't going to move for that because I was still working, yada yada life. I changed degrees because I was acing every class except for programming. I failed the same class 3 times. I took it 3 times because I took it 3 different ways. One instructor thought, well, maybe I just didn't jive with the instructor. Took it again. I got like 1 chapter farther. Failed. Last time I did it online. Still failed. I was like, okay, I am just not a programmer. I suck at this. All the hardware classes and the general security classes and your CompTIA class, man, I'm getting like A's and B's. Couldn't do programming. So, because of the security aspect, the minor had me taking criminal justice and forensic classes in case you had to have a handoff with, cyber tracking or digital forensics. You knew what you were looking for. If they asked you, hey, look at this, I know what to do. And so when I started failing, I actually had the dean was like, dude, you're kind of halfway to criminal justice. Instead of just tanking your grade, why don't you flip? Best move I ever did because I learned I'm a legal nut and I aced that degree like I was asleep.
I'll tell you what, that's something going along the lines with computer stuff. Something I wish I knew more of, but I just don't. Because there's especially in today's time, everything is computer based. Everything. I know the basics of a computer and how to work it, but diving into it internally, I'm not the guy.
The guys that work on my shift, we all have nicknames for different things. And I'm literally techno. And for the longest time, I thought they were talking about music because I listened to about every bit of music except for country, but I can't do it. I can't do it. And I know I'm going to get some trash because I get it every time. There's a reason. I've been a drummer since I was 10 years old, so I listen to music backwards. I listen to the rhythm first, then I get to the guitars, then I'll make it to the lyrics. Problem is, except for like some of your new country that's not really country, it's more country rock or country pop or country whatever, your classic country, good music, but I hear the same rhythms over and over. So personally, I just get bored because of that. There are exceptions.
I will say country is more based off of
like a
storytelling in a way.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, every country song you could literally do acoustic because it's more about the lyrics than it is.
It is.
The drums, the guitars, you know.
It is.
That's why a lot of songwriters are country artists.
Yep. And they got a place for it. You know, Blake Shelton's really good at word.
Hey, but I love rock too.
Don't listen to it.
I love rock.
So
rock concerts are awesome.
But I thought for a long time, because my two top playlists on my Spotify is I've got a full jam session that is hard rock.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've got, I call it BPM, beats per minute. I kind of stole that off of like the Sirius XM channel.
Mm-hmm. But
But it's a lot of your electronica, your techno, your EDM. It's kind of all over the place. So I figured a lot of time that's what they're talking about. So I'd have it playing while I was walking around. And then finally, one of the guys the other day, like, even some of the training that comes from upper in the department, even if it's not me putting it out, they have me put it out because I'm a computer guy. They're like,
Right.
hey, I need this, put this out. Like, I can do computers easy. But I was lucky, the school that I went to when I was younger, they started computers in first grade. I was 6 years old dealing with computers. Now, obviously not programming or anything like that, but
man, I took in
Really good
college. I
introduction.
took a computer science class, and it was like a foreign language to me. Talking about like just the basic coding of a computer, like the keyboard to the actual computer
just your
itself.
input output basics.
Yes. Now even that, I was like, what? This is how
Yeah.
they ran.
It's crazy. I remember my mother, she took programming. And I remember, this was funny. In high school, I took one HTML class. I can do HTML, that's computer, like website programming. Of course, we're not even using much of that anymore. You're in Java and C++ and XYZ24, whatever. You're all over the place now, but I remember the first chapter was history of computers. And literally, the programming language that she programmed in was in my history lesson. Because back then, when she did, was when the computer was the size of a room.
Yeah.
So you had to program, you had to know the input output that now, even me, we take for granted. You had to take it, what you wanted the input and output to be, punch it on this card, and then you would have to take however long your card was, is run it in the machine. It processed everything that you wanted it to do,
Yeah.
and then 30 minutes, hours later, it finished its programming, came back and kicked you out whatever result
Yeah.
that you're. It is nowhere like we are
I
now.
truly give props to people that are so good with computers.
Yeah.
And speaking of so good, talk about that guy. This is funny.
So, see, that was an 8-minute introduction.
Yeah.
So this one, and there's not a lot to talk about, so it's fine that we wasted time.
It's just funny though.
This one came out of Wired magazine. So it says error, North Korea not found. Any computer people knows what that is. That's a 404. You know what it is if you don't know what it is.
Yeah.
You ever load up a website page, and whether it's a link that you had, it was there, and it got moved or whatever, you typo it, you'll get error, 404, page not found, or error not found. This dude did this to an entire country. Now I say dude, I actually looked through this. I don't know if he actually said what his name was,
Or his
his hacker name, because he doesn't actually have his name, so I don't know if he did P4X.
P4.
P4X. This was put out. Oh, I didn't pay attention. What month?
I think January is when it said.
Well,
At the beginning.
So January. Okay, so January is when this came out. Not sure when it actually published here, but
And I guess backstory for the people that don't know about North Korea.
so North Korea, if you don't know, is a very government-controlled country.
That's it.
For public setting, I won't speak too personally on this, as I would feel to. But they are a structured country. Everything that is seen, whether it's TV, whether it's internet, is controlled by the government. So what that means is where, like here in the Americas, you kind of do whatever you want. You've got independent countries giving you access to cable, to internet, to fiber. You can do whatever you want. You got Wi-Fi and satellites, like pure freedom, as long as it's nothing illegal. But you can kind of see and do what you want. North Korea, everything runs through the government. So like their internet comes into the country, all internet is controlled through that government access point, if you will. So I'm not into this well enough to know if what I'm about to tell you is alleged or factual. I don't know. But there were stories that supposedly North Korea was joining China putting out these cyber hacks. I personally don't know if that's true or not, but it's the reason for the story. So this guy, this hacker, P4X, got pissed off and decided to fight back a little bit. Took it into his own hands, if you will. Which, don't do that. It's not the way to do it. Which is also why he's going by his hacker name. And at least as of the time I'm recording this, don't actually know who P4X is. They may or may not know by now. I have no idea. He pretty much killed an entire country's internet access because he found out how to get to the government's access point and shut it down. So the entire country lost its internet because he literally went in there, and all it says in here is that some North Korea watchers, whoever they are, had noticed that the country had carried out a series of missile tests. And this guy's like, perfect time. Because every bit of technology now runs off of internet and digital tracking. They're like, if they're doing some missile tests,
Yep.
They're using some internet somewhere. He was able to use that backdoor, shut down the entire country. In fact, actually, I just read this. I just saw this as I looked down. Last January. So this actually happened in January 2021, but I guess it just now became releasable. So we're down the line on when it actually happened. So they could know who it is by now. I don't know. But it's just cool that it's basically he took out a few sites that the government controlled that they funnel everything through and just shut down everything and caused it an entire data mishandling. The government went nuts. When you're doing missile tests and all of a sudden your internet crashes, like they thought either us or Russia or the UK or somebody had done a counterattack and now we're into a militaristic issue. Nope.
Just one guy.
Just one guy sitting at home having fun because he's that good at programming.
Yeah.
He hacked a whole freaking country. I can't even, I can throw some software in there, but if it don't want, I'm the guy that you call Dell. He's like, did you turn it off and turn it back on? Like, no offense, but that's what they all sound like because it's outsourced. So it's like,
yeah, I can't even fix Word if it's not pulling up right half the time.
like, I mean, come on, this dude freaking hacked the whole country.
Yeah.
Said after a year of letting his resentment simmer over some other issues, P4X took matters into his own hands. It's like, if they don't see we have teeth, it's just gonna keep coming. And all he did was he shared some screen recordings to verify that he was responsible for the attacks. I don't have those screen recordings. That'd be pretty cool. But it says that he took some screen recordings to prove that, hey, this is me, but I'm still not letting you know who I am. He hacked the whole freaking country, man. I'm going to save this one for next time because I have a feeling me and you are going to get on a tangent with this one. All I'm going to tell you is a teaser on this one. It's still data related, but I'll be more specific with it, is digital rights and AI, artificial intelligence. Let you simmer on that one. We'll come back to that one. But I just want to know how you hack a whole country. Like, on one hand, it's impressive, but on the other hand, it makes me wonder, like, was their security really that lax, or were they just that comfortable that because they had control, they didn't have to worry about it?
So it sounds like they actually do know who he is at the very least, because just to end in the article, it even says, they asked him what his end game was for hacking North Korea, and, quote, he says, I just wanted to prove a point before I stopped. So just showing he just wanted to do it to annoy North Korea.
Gotcha. And if he's referencing stopping, they probably were able to actually lock him down or whatever.
It sounds like that's what he did. But regardless, he did it just because he could.
Just because I can. Just because I can. And that's a lesson on determination.
But it goes back to like we were saying, like, if you're good at something, I mean, you can't be stopped.
Right. I got a buddy, actually link this back into games. I actually got a buddy, he's been starting small, but he's, this is a shout out to you, Jake. He he's been making his own games. He started with one called Mega Rollerball, just to get himself going. Big ball, different traverses, and you got to get the path. It's actually kind of addicting.
Mm-hmm.
I got it on Steam. Incredibly addicting. But he's doing that, learning his programming. He's always been real good with computers. Like if I had musical recordings and stuff, masterings, I needed to give it to him. It'd work wonders with this stuff. But you think about that, like you're talking about Modern Warfare, and like we're saying how technically advanced they are. Where I couldn't even do something with GoldenEye back in the day. No way in hell I can do something with Modern Warfare because of how specific and technical it is. That's fun. Think about the programming that went behind these games.
Well, and I feel like now with how good people are with hacking and things like that, I feel like that's an even added stress and a struggle to a gaming company to make a game to where they block that from happening. That way it's fair for everybody. Because once people found out that, like in Modern Warfare 2, you could hack it and you could get a nuke with one kill, that just starts not to be fair. And I don't think
were they just simply calling them anti-cheats or whatever.
Yeah, and I don't think gaming companies, they don't want that to happen. So I feel like that's a struggle for them now, is to figure out
how do we make a game that can't be hacked.
We've got to be better than the hackers. We've got to patch this to the point where it's unpatchable.
And that's just a security problem in general. Like in any industry, is trying to be better than the hackers. The problem is, you have good hackers. You actually have hired good hackers whose job is to find vulnerabilities. Problem is, you need your good hackers to be better than your bad hackers so they can find the problems before the bad hackers do. And that is just a tit for tat, whether you're talking about games or government level internet security. Games and data, man. That's where we landed today. Games and data. And we had no plan on talking about games.
None at all. None at all.
But, ironically, not intended, I promise. Black Ops. And somehow we ended on Modern Warfare.
It went paired perfectly.
And I even said we weren't going to talk about military. Which we didn't.
Well, in a sense we did.
I mean, we did, but, not like hardcore, like, Hurt Locker type Black Ops, but you went from data to gaming to games to security and Modern Warfare. Here's your Black Ops. Now, if you actually buy this as a pack, it actually comes, and I gave it to my buddy, so I don't have it. But the pack of cigars actually comes with. In fact, I'll pop this up over here in between us somewhere. They're now I gotta remember to do that. So they'll actually get like a military style patch on the band that's got a Black Ops logo. So it's kind of cool. Just a little gimmick there. You get it. But pretty good day. We're just over 45-minute mark, so I think I had a feeling that's probably where we're in, because that's a good conversation point before you kind of start wanting to stop running your jaws.
I think moving forward with this, we'll try our best to line up schedules and try to do this, I would say, every couple of weeks if we can.
I'd like that.
Would be nice.
So if you're already a subscriber to the channel, thank you. You're going to see this one. This is kind of what the base of the Hollow Down channel is going to be. I've still got my playlist on the page for the Pursuing Positive stuff, the stuff I did years ago. Those were like 5 to 10 minute videos. Most of the time just me. Some of the videos were good quality, some were not, because it might have been planned. It could have just been like spur of the moment. I've got one that I did on a cruise ship where I started talking about people making connections. That was planned. I asked people's permission. And then I've got another one. I'm in the work truck, and the audio is so horrible because I wanted to say it right now. So those are kind of all over the place. I'm going to keep those on there if you want to go listen to them. But going forward, this is going to be the baseline of the Hollow Down YouTube page.
Random stuff.
Random stuff. Random points to talk.
Like Pat said, feel free to message him, and if y'all got something y'all want us to talk about or ideas or anything,
go for it.
We'll talk about it.
Email is literally thehollowdown@gmail.com. If you are in the podcast, most of your apps will give you a place to message me directly or send a question depending on what app you're on. I send these all with Anchor, but most of the time it gets pushed automatically to Spotify, Stretcher, Breaker, Google. They even cross over to Apple. Just takes a bit longer. But you see them on most of your platforms. You can message there. If you're on YouTube, you can send me a message. You can drop a comment on the video. I'll see that too. I respond to my comments. I've got a video I put up years ago just changing out the drain of my bathtub. I'm not a DIY guy, and I get all sorts of comments and stuff on that page. So, to the point that I even had to put overlays incorrect because I kept saying the wrong tool name, or the wrong tool number. But I pay attention to my videos. I pay attention to comments. So anything that y'all want to hear, you want us to talk about, questions, feel free to do it. We'll talk about it. I don't care.
Like Pat said, this is a good way for us to hang out, talk about random stuff. We don't get to hang out much, so this is our time. If y'all like it, that's great.
If not, we're going to do it anyway.
If not, we're going to still do it anyways. But hopefully these conversations maybe make your mind start to think and have a little discussion with us as well. So
absolutely. But, so that's stay safe, fam. See y'all later.